feeling, Jonathan?
I feel a lot better that I ate, though.
Hello, my name is Tate Hieronymus. I'm the creator and filmmaker for Sasquatch's Search for SABE.
And I'm Ron Reed. I am the narrator for the SABE series, most of the episodes, and was there on this investigation, as well as the creator of Trailing Giants.
And I'm Jonathan Easley. I have a YouTube page called Western Bigfoot Exploration, and I was along for most of this.
My name's Steven Lindsay. I like to camp with these guys and search for big, scary Sasquatches.
Steve, I love your introduction. Oh, man. No, this is the first time all four of us have, at least virtually been together since this expedition happened. Man, the idea of this hike was just like an abomination, really, wasn't it, guys?
Well, I mean, it was like, you look at the satellite imagery, and you're like, it looks like there's a lot of sections to walk in, and we kept just waiting for it to mellow out, right? It's like just up the bend. I'm sure after this last corner right here, it's going to mellow out, and it's going to be like it is at Wright's Place and on. But, yeah, no, didn't happen.
No, it took a year of planning and stuff like that, I think, and we did like 3 or 4 Zoom calls with everybody that was involved to like figure things out logistically and stuff like that, which was so much work.
Yeah, that shot previous to this, it looks, it just gives you an idea of how steep it is right there. Like we got down that pretty easy, but man, it looks just pretty crazy like that from that shot.
Oh yeah, like right where it shows the bridge, how steep it was. There was like a trail that led down to the creek, which wasn't like terrible, but it was pretty steep. I mean, it wasn't like horrible to walk down. Walking up it sucked. After like
it was
that creek.
Yeah, you can tell people walk down to like the Klamath River and to Bluff Creek right there. But I mean, we didn't walk very far to where we stopped seeing all signs of like human evidence.
What, like 100 yards maybe?
Yeah. It was really quick, and it was really quick. Like we were already jumping logs and boulders like right away.
Even animals, man, like anything that wasn't a direct aquatic species. Like there were paths that, I mean, when in certain areas where it opened up, we'd see a little bit of bear sign. I think we saw some bear scat along certain parts of the creek there, but there was a time where didn't see much sign of anything really. I know we didn't get very far, but
we're gonna have to find ways around stuff.
I mean,
somebody threw the idea out when we like went to bed, like well, are we staying up and doing some calls or something, or are we gonna? We're like, there is nothing living in this canyon. Like I don't even think mountain lions go down into that canyon. It's just so crazy and steep.
What were you thinking, Stevie? Because I like not being there. Like, because you were in the group that dropped us off, and you saw the canyon. Like, what was your thoughts back at camp? Like,
well, when we first dropped you guys off, I hadn't seen what the rapids looked like at first, so I decided to walk down a little bit after we dropped you guys off under the bridge and check it out. And when I saw the first part right there, I was like, no way it's gonna be like that the entire way up. It's gonna take them forever. And then I find out later that it took you guys like almost 3 hours. You said you could still see the bridge behind you and stuff.
Yeah, because in the upcoming shot, you see, well, this is our buddy Harvey driving and Steven Schufert's in the front seat. This was what, like 8 in the morning? Something like that? 8 or 9? We started hiking around 10. It kind of talks about it later in this video, but it took us way longer than we thought it was going to take. And we were only supposed to go like maybe we were supposed to go 4 miles that day, and I know I've hiked from like Laos. No, not Laos Camp. There's another bridge on Bluff Creek, and then we hiked that to the film site, which took about maybe 4 hours. And this took like longer than that to go, not even a mile.
From the Klamath.
Yeah, and the satellite imagery is really like what threw me
All the
off.
way to the film site.
Like, it really looks like there's these big patches of like flat ground that you can walk on, like that you would think of like a sandbar or something like that,
To the film site.
and it's not like that at all.
Hike.
Yeah, I think
this is gonna
one
be
of my
pretty cool.
oversights was
At
if
least
if it becomes
nobody's
too
documented
labor
it.
intensive
So we're
to
gonna be the
walk
first
within
ones
the
to
creek
document
itself,
the,
surely it wouldn't be
this
very
hike.
long before we'd find a game
pretty
trail
cool.
and we could
So
just
excited
follow where
about
the
that.
animals follow. And as I
little
said before,
nervous,
we didn't really encounter that. We found
We'll see how it goes.
some infrequent areas where animals were in areas that were easy for us to walk, but there were just sections that the animals stay out of because there's not a real discernible path and there's no resources there aside from water for them.
Yeah, this is like one of my favorite parts of a backpacking trip here. Like once you get dropped off at the trailhead, you get like the last stuff together, and one of my favorite things doesn't sound like a favorite thing, but it's like you always feel like you're forgetting something. Did I pack enough food? Did I pack enough stuff for the cold? And you leave with like all these doubts.
Yeah.
And
Kind of said that here in this part. You're like, I was like, "Are you ready, man?" You're like, yeah, not really." It's
It always feels like that, and then once you do like a backpacking trip or hike, it like you get this reassurance, like to stop kind of doubting yourself. And I think that's why I don't know. That's kind of like one of the reasons one of the many reasons I like backpacking.
it was a good time. Like at this point in my mind, like during the like before everybody got there, when I was like sitting by myself, I was like, okay, my idea has become a reality, and I gotta follow through on it. It's becoming real. It's like it's kind of like there's no backing out right now because everybody spent the money to get there, and it's like I gotta follow through on this. And that's when it really hit me. I was like, okay, this is something crazy that we haven't done before. Nobody has done it before, at least that we know of. Or if anybody has done it, it hasn't been publicized. If that makes sense. And so it was a daunting task in a way and nerve-wracking. So
For sure, whether people have hiked it or not, no one's shown it on YouTube. At least, like I don't know of any recordings or film of that place that we eventually get to here. As far as we make it, like, I mean, we showed parts of Bluff Creek and that old abandoned mining operation too. Like, no one has shown what we have shown up Bluff Creek. Put it that way.
What do you think, Ron?
I was just reflecting on how good of a day we had really for it. We had some really clear skies. Honestly, dude, I don't think anybody's been there. It just, I don't know, maybe who would go out there and do it, and then I don't know, it'd just be somebody that just looking for a challenge and would want to like share it. And we live in such a culture today that where it's like if you do something difficult, like you tell people about it, and you're looking for some type of status from it. So just the idea of somebody just saying one day, hey, I think I'm gonna just go up the creek and hike its entirety and not tell anyone. I don't think that's happened personally, but
Yeah,
I mean,
you have to
no
have
way
like
prove
really good reason, right?
I mean,
You
we
also have
had
like
a-
really good reason. Like we had a motivation to try to go through the uncharted part because we've heard all these like stories of like up the way, like Bigfoot Creek, and Kip had that friend that when Kip mentioned that he's hiking all the way up like that, the friend mentioned Bandit here. The friend mentioned that he's like, dude, I saw all these weird lights and all this stuff up in Bigfoot Creek, and I'll never go back there again. So we were so eager to get to these like places that people don't normally go to. Look how hard the whole
And people don't
way was
yeah.
like what you just saw was like the whole way, like just
So
waist deep in the water over logs.
yeah, I don't think people get the idea like what we. Oh, why don't you just take the creek the whole way up? Well, I mean, yeah, that it's good in theory, but also in reality, there's parts of the creek that are literally like deeper than waist deep, and there's no way of getting through that. And you're having to bushwhack. Like, look at that. You can see how like up to their waist Kip and Ron were, and Kip and Ron are not short dudes. And not only that, you're boulder hopping and stuff like that, and
Yeah, Ron's like 5'4", 5'5".
no,
Just
are you?
kidding.
Me?
Ron and I
Just
are
kidding.
almost 6 foot.
I know he's almost 6 foot,
But like
and I think Kip's like 6'1" or something like that.
Kip, yeah,
So they're
6'1"
tall
or
dudes.
6'2". He's a huge guy, and then Jonathan's shorter than all of us.
It's so funny, like watching these shots, man. Like, it just takes you back.
Ron, like,
It's just like everything is like scrub and wild, and it's like those movies like we watched it later in a tent, but that Sasquatch, the
It's-
Legend of Bigfoot.
it's
Like
in
they,
the,
those
it's in
guys
the next episode. Yeah,
those guys were like intentionally like filming like the most rugged conditions to make it look like these actors from California were like in the bush. And like that was like our entire trip. Like so in that respect, like a lot of times you'll watch those outdoor movies and you're like, it's not that bad. Not everything is an episode of Survivor Man. But the hike in Bluff Creek, every aspect of it was like, yeah,
it was,
there's no glamorous part of it. There's no like easy going. Like this is like the most rugged it can get.
it was pretty insane. And okay, what? Because I think there was a lot of debate before the hike. Should we bring Bandit? You know, your Ron's dog or not? Like Ron. So let's clear the air for people who might be thinking to themselves about that whole situation.
Right. So like for me, just me and Bandit, we go way back. He's my travel companion. I live alone in Wisconsin. I don't really have friends that are willing to look after him. But he's 13 years old. He'll be 14 this year. So he's 13 at the time of this hike. But he gets like daily walks. He's really active. I mean, he was doing like 8-mile, 9-mile hikes with me in Colorado just a couple of months before. You know, we'll regularly do like a lot of walking around our home. I'll go from one trail. He still has energy. I take him to the next one. He wakes me up wanting to go. So I was thinking about it, right? And a creek hike versus like a mountain hike. You know, he's struggling a little bit with steep inclines and stuff, but we were just thinking about the length of this hike and being able to wade through the creek. And in my mind, you know, I'm thinking like Notice Creek or different areas of Bluff Creek that are very walkable. And just going out, yeah, like he's talking about how Bandit wasn't trying anymore. He would just, yeah, we're going into it right now.
But I mean, like, no, it's one. No, I agree because, like, anybody who's watching who's actually been to the Patterson Gimlin film site, it's not like a very hard hike, but it's also not a very easy hike, and then you have to cross through streams.
Right.
For a 13-year-old dog to still hike that and outpace every human in the group, it shows that he's pretty active in hiking.
Yeah.
But the thing going into this is like, okay, we knew this hike was going to be hard. There's no doubt about it. But we had no idea how hard it was actually going to be until we were like at the point of no return, more or less.
Right. I think that like we thought that we'd have some challenges, we'd get around them, and that's where I felt comfortable taking the dog, is because even when he was in his peak age and was unstoppable, we still developed a relationship that if he saw something difficult to do, like I would restrain him. I'd say, hey, he'd respond to my commands. He'd wait. I'd lift him over things. And that's what happened here, is all of this stuff. It wasn't me pushing an old dog or leaving an old dog behind me, you know, and just letting him try to catch up desperately, tripping over rocks and injuring himself. It was me walking alongside Bandit the entire walk, seeing something that he couldn't clear, lifting him up, motioning for him to stay. He responded, he trusted me, and then when I repositioned myself, I opened out my arms and said, all right, I'm ready for you. And then I'd lift him. And he was tired because I had to pick him up and I'd say, okay, you got to plant your landing here. And so he'd like have to like brace for landing on wherever I was trying to lift him to. But like from my understanding, I still maintain the idea that he was less sore than any of us because he was the first to get up and want to go for a walk the next day.
Yeah.
Like when we got back to the cell site and we were all camped out.
My feet were swollen and everything.
He woke me up at daybreak ready to get out of the tent. And I said, what do you want? And he just like goes up the trail. So it was a situation that the dog really couldn't have gone that way himself. And if I have regrets about taking him, it was because it made the hike harder for me to maneuver him.
Yeah, I mean,
he was just on standby the whole time.
Yeah, Jamin thought it was a good idea because I thought there were going to be a lot of like flat, walkable kind of sandbar parts. And you know, I was talking with Kip the other day about this, and we were saying, you know, Bandit kind of. The fact that you know, he was slowing down at the end of the day because we did a good like 7 or 8 hours like we talked about in the previous scene here. He might have been the reason we were so safe.
Real quickly,
we called it a night, you know.
I love this shot here. Just it's so good. Ron's actually Ron's filming that shot. I just love it.
Was this around the time that we found out that Peter Byrne passed? Or was this?
This was the same. Out, yeah. This was the same trip.
I told you guys.
This is on our way to Noogo Valley. But anyway, Bandit was like getting pretty.
So yeah.
I think we were in worse shape than Bandit was, but at least
Bandit was okay. He was
fine. You know, I think the final say on it is for people who are wondering, we would never let Bandit in a bad situation. Yeah, the hike was very. Unpleasant, but it wasn't impossible. And we were able to get Bandit through safely between me and Jonathan and Ron, for sure, like 100%. Bandit was safe. We weren't going to let anything happen.
To put it simply, like I knew who I was hiking this trip with. Not only would I not have taken Bandit, but I would have not gone myself unless I trusted you guys to help me if I needed to help. And there were times where Jonathan was helping me lift Bandit and move him over a log so that the dog didn't strain himself trying to jump or something like that. And then there were other times where, you know, I'd do the stream crossings, but there were some stream sections that were too wide that I needed someone to be on the other side. And so for the times I'd walk across the stream, drop my pack, come back across the stream while the dog's patiently waiting, then I'd grab the dog and then Kate would catch him half the stream so that the dog wouldn't get swept down the creek. So like we really coordinated how to make sure every member of the group made it through. I mean, and we looked out for each other. Like even, you know, like if I knew your feet were hurting, you know, we were looking for the path of like, you know, more stable ground, or if with Kip and some of his difficulties, or Jonathan, as you were getting sore from our hike, we were like looking, you know, we were at one point I was scouting ahead. We took turns doing that, and we really looked out for each other. There was never a point in any of this where one of us wasn't worried about the other 3 people and a dog that were there.
What was nice having Kip there is I think like the 3 of us being younger guys, younger than Kip, right? Because we're like half Kip's age. So the 3 of us we're thinking, you know, we're not sitting down yet. We just, you know, we had a good swim. We could probably continue the hike. But that's where like first-hand experience and knowledge comes in, where Kip, from his experience, like, you know what? I think if we keep pushing ourselves, we're going to get hurt. And I think you said it best, Jonathan. It's actually in the video. It's like as soon as we sat down, I realized this was a good idea, and it was Kip's idea that kept us safe without getting hurt or breaking an ankle. And that's kind of what I really wanted to say. Last point on the hike, you know, and And now it's showing us, we're here. We obviously didn't finish the hike, so we went to a really special spot called Noogo Valley that I really loved. This is like the most time we spent here, and Ron and I actually spent more time here alone after this. And then you can hear Jonathan, you're singing for the Lion King.
No, but we may or may not have consumed a fair amount of alcohol at this point.
Let's just say, Ron, you had that strawberry liqueur.
Oh my god, that was hilarious! Yeah.
No, what was it? It was like peach or something, wasn't it? It was like a peach cream.
Oh yeah, it was a peach cream.
It was peach cream.
Yeah.
Man, that was pretty.
That was pretty funny.
Tired.
But wait, like,
What's up? What up?
wait, I love. Okay, for the record,
What's up?
Jonathan was like, "Oh, I don't know who would start their engine in the morning."
Well, I woke up.
Wait,
The sound of a car engine.
car
I don't know
engine?
who would do that.
It was not me. Jonathan.
I walked away down,
this
Not this
time.
time.
It was not
Not
me
this
this
time.
time.
and I walked all the way down there. There's a trail going up.
Mr. Brad was hearing like the birds chirping.
Oh, yeah.
Every
and I
time-
was like,
every-
man, this is so nice, and all of a sudden it's like, this big old engine.
But
It was morning, though. It was time to get up anyway.
I hate. You sound like such a D word. You're like, I got up and started a fire
I
like,
know.
oh man.
Like a man. I know.
Wait, this is my favorite part here. Hold on.
At it.
Well, it takes a lot when you're going through the daily struggles and grinds of a man such as myself to be up and at it, as you said, on a day like today. But I'll do better. I'll try.
I really feel like you're trying to live out Red Dead Redemption, but you just feel miserable.
What are you talking about, boy?
Hey,
I saw that.
It's all right, boy. It's all right.
That's a good Arthur
It's
Morgan.
all right, boy.
All right, boy.
So we're gonna go
you know what?
look for a spot for this blind.
That Noogo Valley is that type of
see
spot.
what's
If you
a
do
good
wake up
area.
in a camp, it does feel a
Tonight
little
we
bit
can
like a
get,
Red Dead.
It really does, honestly. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, we're here to meet everybody at camp. We're way out there.
The old Driscolls are coming.
Yeah, this.
What's
I was.
what's the other Driscolls and the Pinkertons?
Further back in the
Yeah. Yeah.
observe that area where the deer and
Yeah.
the graves.
You know what? I looked on a
Like
map,
a meadow would
and
be
I
pretty
think
cool,
that
yeah.
Noogo Valley, like at this camp,
Meadow or something.
might be like the
I say,
most
well, yeah, just go
isolated
get
I've
walking
been
and see what we
from
find.
other humans, maybe ever.
Noogo Valley is my favorite place. Like, it's one of my favorite places
If
to
you look-
camp.
Yeah, look at it on a map, and it's like, how far are you from the nearest other camp and the nearest city, and then I think this is the furthest in isolation and wilderness that I've been.
Now, I want to reiterate for people listening, if you're trying to Google it, no, that's not the actual name of the place. I can't say the name of the place because, like, I mean, I think we can all agree this place is like a really, I don't want to give it away by saying this, it's a really special place in the Six Rivers National Forest area that we want to keep it like that. And so we did the code name Noogo Valley. And so it's just one of those special places I don't think a lot of people know about. And it's like nice because we can be able to get there and
Because I was out
do
here,
work like, like what we want to do without having outsiders who, obviously other than locals who know what this is on camera.
I don't know. It felt funny after the deer took
It's just we wanted to keep it very private, if that makes sense.
like big snaps and stuff. And I was like, that deer is either really clumsy or there's something else.
Yeah. Also, I think it's
This is
like
a good
a way
area,
of
too.
being
I mean,
extra respectful
blind
too.
set up
Instead of
there,
showing
you
where
wouldn't be
this
able to
is
see
and
it from the
having
road if
just
you
random
set it
people
right.
come and leave their garbage everywhere and kind of ruin the area.
Yeah, because this area is such a beautiful spot, man. It's
Yeah, I didn't really know.
it's one I really respect,
So, I'm
and
wondering what you guys are thinking. We could put it.
this is the most extensive that we researched this spot too.
And
which
we
I
could
think-
put it at the edge of one of these trees to where we can hear things
Yeah, it's.
from the non-see-through walls.
Go ahead,
We can
Ron.
hear
I was
things
just gonna
up
say, I
behind
think
us.
that like this whole
Put it
trip, I
back-
mean, we
back to the
can
bush.
linger on the fact that our hike didn't go the way we
then you can
had
see
planned
like,
it.
down here.
But we
split
still have
line?
learned so much about Bluff Creek from that experience, and learning different access points, checking out spots we had never been to on this trip, and then spending that time that we would have been hiking kind of like as a, okay, what's our plan now? Well, let's deep dive some other spots like Noogo Valley, and we've seen so much more of that area to kind of have an understanding there and maybe some different approaches in the future. So I don't feel like we wasted a single hour of our time on this trip.
I don't think so either. I mean, we'll talk about this in a future commentary episode, but like we filmed, or at least I filmed so much footage that if I was to like put all the footage together, it'd be close to like a 4-hour video. And so there was so much stuff I couldn't put in here, but outside of this episode, Ron, you and I did eventually return to this, just you and I think. Didn't we? No. I forget. It's you forget how many like days you spend out there, what days run together, and then when you're editing videos,
Do you mean return to
we returned to
Noogo
Valley? Yeah, but I think we returned.
Stevie
was there, yeah. Because Jonathan, yeah, we went like I can't remember where we went. Everything bleeds together.
I think we went to was it Wright's place?
We went to Wright's place, but we
and then after that, we went back.
We went back to no.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened was at the end of this episode, we were at Twin Lakes. We went into town, and then you joined Ron and I the next day at Twin Lakes, and then from Twin Lakes we went to Noogo Valley, and then back to Wright's place, then back to Noogo Valley.
Those two trees, we could still see
Yeah,
into the
and
meadow.
I think the second time around we had more things happening too.
We definitely had some weird stuff happening. Yeah.
That's like these trees obscure us so much.
Jonathan?
I feel like
Yeah,
the trees
here
so
we're
many
just like trying to
deers.
find.
over there.
We're trying to
Like, you're
plan
talking about
how to
where
put
we
up a
would see
blind
this tree, that
and
tree.
make it effective.
We
So
see
we're
a
like,
shit
I have this
ton.
one idea, Ron has
you
this
know what?
idea,
All
and then
around.
my
I do
idea
agree.
eventually gets canceled
I
out.
do
Just
now
like,
agree because I just
well,
thought of this too.
you want a blind kind of hidden in the
We're not
bushes.
gonna be able to see
You
Yeah.
want a blind kind of hidden in the
We'll be
bushes,
able to
not
see
out in
the
the middle of a
left
meadow. And I was like,
and to the right.
yeah, that makes sense.
And,
So
you know,
But I mean, what I
we
love
chose a
about
good spot for it.
anything
what I love
else
about
is
like
this,
the way I present
here,
my videos is I love to show our like just the way we decide something, you know. And I think this episode really shows it more than other ones that I've done. It just it's I dare say it's a boring amount of footage of us talking, deciding on what to do.
Opposed to trying to walk through this crunchy stuff.
Yeah, but you know, it's the difference I think of why we are sometimes able to deliver results is because we're thinking critically to the degree, and we respect each other enough. Like there hasn't been a single. I can't think of a single time where. Well, let me rephrase this. There have been times where we've gone with my plan, where we've gone with Tate's plan, where Jonathan had the best idea. Stevie's made some great suggestions, and we've gone with that. So, like, as our group, you know, we've always bounced ideas off of each other, and sometimes we are able to make a hybrid plan that really is like extremely dynamic and can get some really interesting results. So I think forming that process by bouncing ideas off of each other, talking about the pros and cons, like this is what managers want for people to run their business, you know, like and we're out there doing it for like Bigfooting, and it's a skill set just like tracking, just like any outdoor skill, you know. It's how deep are you willing to think about something to find a solution.
It's true. Like, and off topic real quickly, I'm gonna go back to that. We're all talking here, and it's not on camera because I wish I could on video. I didn't see it, but Ron did. We're all talking here, having like this serious discussion, and then before this actually happened, there was this grouse or whatever that was kind of like in the area, and it was like when we get closer, we kind of fly off, and we're sitting here and we're just talking like we are now, And off camera, you'll see like Ron look over behind where the camera is,
Just to entice them.
and you can actually hear it. I think in the video, but a grouse flew into the tree.
We
Remember?
have two people out there together. Kind of
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
This grouse, it flew so hard into the tree, didn't it like temporarily knock itself out? And
Yeah, that's
we
what
thought it
Ron
was
saw.
dead.
Yeah, so 2 people out there, 2 people
Yeah,
back
look.
at the.
I think it's gonna come up here in a
We saw it
second.
all scrambling, like trying to like revive itself.
And then 2 people out.
I think Ron made a comment was like, "Oh, they do that or something." Oh, I didn't show it. I thought it did, but
Totally
no,
forgot about that part. But yeah,
no, it
Damn.
totally like it flew off and like hit a branch or hit the tree and everything.
Man, I love this blind. I've been having fun with it.
It's really cool.
It's
Really
just
cool.
it just
Easy.
pops up so easy. Yeah, it fits over picnic tables like park.
Do you remember the picnic table at? Yeah, we'll get into that in the next commentary, but it's hilarious. It fit perfectly, but again,
Have open field and
hey, you know what shirt that sweater that is?
meadow.
Hey, tasty tacos, right?
Tasty Tacos in Des Moines, Iowa. You whoop whoop.
When did we go there?
We
That
went,
would have been before this trip.
it was before this trip. It was like the
So we
end
got all that view.
of winter or like a month after winter or something. Because there was like mud and snow on the ground.
That's right. Yeah, it was like in December because I remember it was really nasty
That's
weather.
it, yeah.
And the Christmas music on the radio.
It was
That's when I forgot. That's when I picked that up because
it was 2022 when we went there.
See through.
Yeah.
Windows.
And then we went to like Tasty Taco after. We went to. No. Did we go to El Bait Shop too? That was like my other spot in Des Moines.
that was after.
This is past summer. Okay,
It's
yeah.
later, yeah.
We're headed out
I wanted to
uh,
kind of go back to what you guys were talking about earlier with the whole bouncing ideas off each other. I wanted to say how,
go out there.
like, so there's so many like
wait it out.
Bigfooters and stuff who
Hopefully
have
somebody
like
comes
one way
in.
of looking at things, and that's the way they do it, and they'll
I'm
kind
feeling
of.
good about it.
There's a lot of people who
How are
just
you
cut
feeling?
people off if they don't see it the same way.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things that I love about all like, well, yeah, a lot of the Bluff Creek guys, especially this group right here,
How
is
you
that
feeling,
we all
Jonathan?
have our ideas, but we're all open-minded enough to still be like, all right, well, you know, I don't really agree with you, but I'm still gonna do your plan because I want to see if it works.
I'm
You know,
expecting.
Yeah.
we're still, you know, we all respect each other enough to still go along with it.
I think, yeah, and I think we've all been working together with each other long enough. I think we're really comfortable with one another that, you know, like, obviously we can say things to one another without getting offended by something. But at the same time, that goes to show, like, if you can do that, you can trust each other on, like,
See what
a,
happens.
I don't want to say intimate level because that sounds weird. But
Yeah, don't say that, please.
but you get what I'm trying to say, right? It's
Yeah.
like we really trust each other enough to like, if this person has an idea, let's try it because you know they probably know what they're talking about, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, you know. And we've all been in the subject long enough, and we're all level-headed people. I think it just we really feed off each other, and because of that, we get results that other people don't. And think about TV shows and stuff. You get like a cast together, and the cast doesn't get along, and nothing happens. But at the same time, that's scripted. But you
The
know,
one from Layered Meadow that.
I think
Yeah, this is like real us just doing research.
and before like Ron,
Nothing's given, no orders or anything given to us for production. It's just us coming up with the best plan, and you know, yeah, that's what I like about you guys. It's a good thing.
Jonathan over here.
Here it's funny, dude, because we were on the way to set up for this, and we all kind of had like that crazy little moment where we saw. Remember this? We saw that eye shine poke up through the bushes. And we ended up like all like going different directions, kind of chasing it
Oh
to
yeah.
see what it was, and
Yeah.
it turned out being that deer.
Sounds.
And it was that deer, that same deer, one of 2 deer that was just roaming around the meadow all night while we were out there.
just hanging
Just kinda
around.
running at it like madmen. That deer must have shit itself.
I know.
So,
how the
like,
hell can they see me?
I'll say this, like, so behind the scenes stuff, you know, it showed us setting up the blind, and what you guys are probably like 200 yards or 100 yards in front of us in the meadow. Like,
Yeah,
so
around it.
this is like one of those ideas that's like, you know, this is a great idea. We'll have a couple people in the meadow, a couple people in the blind, and then we'll switch roles. But like, does walking back and forth, like, does that, you know, can someone see us walking back and forth, you know, switching shifts or whatever? Does that interrupt anything? You know, but again, I think that's what makes us good at getting results, is because we're willing to try it. And if we're like, okay, this didn't work, then maybe we'll try something else that might work. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it's one of those things, like, it's a trial and error kind of thing out here.
Yeah, what we were trying to do this time, right? We had a couple people in the meadow, kind of like decoys, like just sitting out there. I think we even, did one of us light a cigarette? Like, just to
it was
get
probably
smoke, a scent in the air.
it might have
and
been Glenn.
something- Yeah, and then
Well, I
then
had a
come
cigar.
down and whatever was like, you know, interested in that's going to come down and maybe hide on the side, and that's where the blind was. So I thought that was a really good idea, and you know, I wouldn't be opposed to trying that again some other place.
No, neither would I.
No, I said I would. What?
Oh, I mean,
I said it's a good idea to try again. And you're like, neither would I. I guess I'll do it on my own.
no, never forget it.
How far do you think that our flute and ukulele went in that canyon there?
To be perfectly honest with you,
You think it went far at all?
I don't think
it was pretty loud, dude. That was, I don't know. I think it was pretty loud.
I don't
'Cause that
think
was
it.
a really
I don't
quiet
think
valley.
it went. I don't think it went that far. I think it went
I
about
think-
as far as the meadow went. Like, that's about it, and then the trees absorbed the rest.
Yeah, but it's just the way Noogo Valley right there, that particular part is set up. I think it's exactly kind of what we needed, because we were kind of hoping that something would come in through that valley. Like, there's that little choke point up ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And if that happened, you know what I mean? If one came in, it would absolutely hear it. There was no way we wouldn't hear it.
I mean, that was kind of around that area where we had that tree break. Tate later on, and I think that
was
we'll talk
in
about that later. But
In another episode, yeah, we
that
did.
was where we had the blind wasn't too far away from where.
It's only like what 300 yards.
Yeah, I mean the tree was a really big tree. It was really far up, and what
It's dead silent.
what
We've been doing shit.
we saw, or what I saw, was I heard, like, didn't we hear like some commotion up in the treetops?
Pack up, head back to camp.
And then I
What?
turned to look, and it was like something. I saw like
We break down this
a branch or something fall. So I don't know if it like
recorder. I don't.
I mean,
fell,
like,
or
I don't know what happened really on that. I mean, I know. Okay, it's it's one of like the last episodes we did, or I did it for the series. So, I mean, when we talk, I don't really know what happened there. We'll have to go into more detail.
I saw a little
on it.
bit. Because I looked up and I had to look by you because I was already halfway. I was talking to you, so we were looking, and I was looking closer to that direction.
Go up there.
And when I looked up, I saw like a limb
Watch around up there.
fall from like the top of the tree. So like I don't know if it just
Kick her away
broke and fell,
get on with our day.
or if it was like thrown up there, or if it was like the tree was shaking and the limb broke off and started to fall when we looked up. But I heard a lot of noise. It was like a clatter, and then when I looked up, I saw a limb fall. And this is like the top like
We've been coming here for years.
Right.
15-20% of the tree of like a big mature tree.
And
I love the shot. I love the shot of Robert Lederman that you got, by the way,
it's
with
such
the fire in his
In his
glasses
eye,
and
yeah.
telling the story. So cool.
it's one of those shots. I was like, Okay, I want to have Robert tell us stories of Twin Lakes. We're at Twin Lakes now. At this point, a buddy of mine from Southern California, no, not Southern California, he lives in the Bay Area, San Francisco, and he ended up joining us. And this was his, like, I don't want to say it's not his first time to the Bluff Creek area, but it's first time, like, kind of hanging out with us. And so I was like, hey, Robert, tell us the story you told me about Cliff and Bobo being in this area, and they had something weird going on. And Robert's kind of just telling us this story and all that. And here's Richard. Here's Richard right now. He kind of just talking about the area. But man, behind the scenes, there was so much funny things that happened because Ron brought this Bigfoot puppet. And I wish we had it on camera because that's one of those things that I think we tried to recreate it, but there's just no way we could. Stevie, you were there.
Yeah.
Because I had this puppet, and then Ron was like, "Hey, tell us about a Bigfoot sighting or something," or I can't remember what it was. But I was like, I was doing the puppet, and I was like, I came across a coyote and fought the coyote and. Or so, I can't.
No, you did it like all sound effects. You did it like Bigfoot walking in woods, coyote walk in front of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Coyote growl. Coyote dealt with. Everybody died. It was just like one of the funniest things that you cannot. Dude. We put the puppet on you for the first time, and I just remember everybody leaning in, like, "What is Tate's sick mind gonna do to this puppet?"
Sick. Why do you have to say sick mind?
Because I also remember what you did later that I'll spare the audience. But surprisingly, a lot of your puppet actions were just like wholesome, like a
Sesame Street,
thing. So
yeah. It was very Sesame Street rated.
As soon as I think I brought that to your attention, then you were like, "Oh, well, let me show you what else I'll do." I mean, we're all guilty of that. Like, we're all.
You still have to send me the footage from Noogo Valley of the puppet videos that we took, because we did. Remember?
Yeah.
You were like, I was behind the tree working the puppet, and I popped up over the log, and we were trying to do like a PBS, like Sesame Street style, like, "Hey, I'm Ron Reed. I'm here out looking for Bigfoot. I'm gonna call Bigfoot right now." Whoop! And then I pop up and like, "Hello, Ron." And then you were getting irritated at me. It was like, "This is too PG." And then like, I was like, "Okay, I'll make it more not PG if you want." And then we ended up like having an argument, like you and then me playing as the puppet. You like choked out the puppet for some dumb reason.
Yeah. So like, because that's how we concluded the conflict. But then we had so the reason I had the puppet in the first place was it's a likeness of Bigfoot, and it would be like just to see if anything weird would happen. We were just gonna have these like little puppet interactions with the Bigfoot puppet and just see if like maybe that would bring something in camp if they saw it and were interested. We left the puppet propped up a lot and stuff. And then the thought occurred to me that if Bigfoot was actually observing us somewhere in the vicinity of Noogo Valley,
yes,
and we're choking what looks like a baby Bigfoot to death, it probably
wasn't a
good. Yeah, like not exactly a Jane Goodall level.
And you said outcome. That. You said, I think Stevie was like hiking at the time, and it was just me and you at camp, just like doing this Bigfoot puppet like murder on camera. You're like choking the Bigfoot out. And I'm like,
I said,
so, oh my God, that's so funny. So now we're kind of, Richard's like saying how he was just kind of hearing something. We heard a possible knock.
A rock or something like that.
And I think how we ended up splitting the groups. Richard stayed at camp. Me and Ron ended up walking towards where Robert and his son were camping, which was like, what, not even a mile? Like, how far do you think that was?
Oh man, I don't even think it was half a mile.
Like 3/4 of a mile, 2/4?
Like maybe 1/4. I feel like it's just a little stretch. It's not too far.
So we ended up walking there, and so Ron and I got there. We're kind of just sitting down, and then Stevie and Robert's son. I'm a horrible person. I'm forgetting his name right now. Do you remember his name?
I think his name is Patrick.
Yeah, Patrick. So Stevie and Patrick come walking up, and then right now it's Patrick and me and Stevie talking. Ron's actually laying down with Bandit, and
yeah, I do that a lot. A lot of times I'm sleeping in the middle of something interesting going on.
It's funny, and I ended up doing a knock here shortly. But my irritation was, I don't know if Ron heard it because I asked you if you heard it. Like, I didn't hear anything, but Stevie and Patrick, I'm pretty sure heard it. You remember that, Stevie? Do you remember me doing a knock on the tree and you heard it?
I remember it because it was probably like the clearest knock that I heard that entire trip, actually. Yeah.
You definitely heard it.
Yeah, so after you did that, it's probably like, what, probably like 3 or 5 seconds after you did yours?
Oh, no, I think like a minute.
Or a little longer, because I remember to talk about, well, what if it was an echo, but I remember it was a lot longer than what an echo could have done.
Because I think I did another knock after that to try and get another response, or to see if it was an echo, but we didn't get an echo.
Yeah, the sound didn't carry that way. Yeah.
No.
And so it's like, okay, well, there was definitely, and where the knock came from was in the opposite direction of our camp. So here's the knock, but the camera did not pick it up. It was not loud enough. I mean, I don't. Yeah. Doing a knock with those little bats, they actually kind of hurt if you like get a grip of it, you know, get a good knock in.
They're stinging a bit.
Your hand will, it does not feel good. Yeah, I just heard it right there. You can kind of hear me talking about it. It was like a clear pop. And this is at Twin Lakes. It's just one of those places like I wish we could spend more time at, or I definitely want to spend more time at. I mean, this was Stevie. This is Stevie's second time there, right? This is your second time there?
This is I think this
or
is
third.
My 5th time there, actually.
Oh, 5th time.
Yeah.
Because I've been with you guys. This is my second time to Twin Lakes, and I've been with you guys once. Mm-hmm. That's right. You guys have been there before me.
Yeah, but we went there a couple times on our own, and once with the
And then Ron, this was the one with Rowdy was with me and you and your mom and
yeah. We went another time too.
And then, Ron, this is your first time here, right?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought it was a really cool area. I was super impressed that that Robert kind of he knew a lot about the area. He knew where some of the game trails were. And we were able to find some good animal sign around there.
It was pretty cool. Oh, behind the scenes story. Richard Turgeon. If I mispronounce the name, the last name, I'm sorry, Richard. But remember, Richard showed up in town in what was it, Hoopa, in like a Prius.
Yeah.
And we drove out there, and his car made it in just fine. But the next morning, his car had a flat tire, and I felt so bad. But, luckily he was able to get back into town on his tire.
That's the only thing about that area is that drive in.
It's brutal.
We were kind of worried because that drive is really hard on the. It's a steep drive back down to the highway.
Oh, back down. Yeah, it's bad on the brakes.
Yeah, everybody's brakes were smoking, and that's like we were. I had like all my low gear, sports mode, like all of that, and it was like I still couldn't put it in a low enough gear to where it wouldn't get out of control, and I'd have to just apply the brakes heavily,
But remembered Richard got like stung by a bee.
Yeah, dude, he went through it all.
And then when he left, we were all fine. Then we all went to the Bigfoot Steakhouse in Willow Creek to have like breakfast or whatever, because it's like it's the staple thing we do when we go there.
I can tell you what we heard.
And so, Richard was fine when he left, and he's like, when we all got to the Bigfoot Steakhouse, I think he was already in Eureka at that point, or something like that. And he texts us. He texted us a picture. He's like, "Hey, should I go to the doctor or something?" And where the bee sting was, it was like blistered and swelling up bad. And we're like, "Yeah, you should go to the doctor."
Yeah.
Turned out he was allergic to it, right?
Turned out, yeah, he was allergic to it, or to a certain degree, he was allergic to it, and so
we found that out.
It's pretty crazy, But I mean, yeah, he really got to experience Bluff Creek, flat tires, bee stings. This was one of those things, man.
I'm pretty sure all of us have gotten a flat tire at least once out there.
I don't
That's
think
just what it does to you.
Ron has not gotten a flat tire, but he got his car destroyed.
Yeah.
Probably worse than a flat tire.
Probably worse than a flat tire.
Past that meadow over there.
Oh man, I remember that like yesterday when that happened.
Yeah.
You were going to Bigfoot days, right?
Yeah, I was gonna see what it was all about because I heard it mentioned on a lot of documentaries and stuff in the past.
Just the one.
Didn't get there.
No, not this.
The trees absorb the sound pretty
Next
well.
time. But this night right here was probably one of the craziest nights on the whole trip, with how many things that everyone was saying that they were hearing. We heard something. My mom was saying that she was hearing something on that trip.
Yeah.
Everyone had something going on.
Yeah.